The Whispers. The Whispers.
Your right until you hear is by force. You must know your right. And today, I'm right here with the founder of Whisper to Humanity, Mary Jacob, a Gen Z. I like to add it so that they don't say, this one an old person, now making the tell, in the give us, in the preach bobo juice for us. This is somebody in the young people's generation, so it's better to hear from the horse's mouth. Mary Jacob, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm good. So since you gave me this polo, I don't know, it's not like school uniform. I now feel like I have to wear a uniform to work. So guys, I'm wearing a Whisper to Humanity polo right here.
It looks nice on you.
Please, me, I'm selling it. I don't know about them, but if you want to buy, I'm doing it for profit. I'm not doing all those non-profit things. It's not with me. I will sell it. So if I post it up and you want to hit me up 75 for one. I beg. Okay, Mary Jacob. So would you want to do a very mini recap about what we went on about last week?
Okay, yeah. So last week was exciting. I swear. It was an amazing session. We had an expert who was part of the process. From the process of setting up the VAP document to the bill. The first time I was in Imo for the public hearing, I remember meeting her. She was through the process, and now that we have a law in Imo State, she's also through totally part of the process to implement it in the state. So it was amazing listening to her and hearing from the field and the perspective of what they have been doing and what we all have been doing, and also seeing loopholes that there are a lot of things to be done. So last week we looked at what the law was about. We looked at how we are amplifying voices, especially young people's voices, and how we are getting people involved, more state actors involved in the implementation process of this law. So yeah, and I think, like you said, like this is like the Pro Max thing, because this time around today we're going to be talking deeper into how we as citizens of the state and people living in the state, how we can also aid the implementation process. And basically my attention is to young people today, like how young people can be more involved, how young people can own the process in the implementation of this law, and how young people can decide for themselves how the law is implemented, including it as their basic human rights and their civil rights as well.
Okay. So just for clarity purposes, you would want to restate what this Vapp law is.
Okay.
Let's be restating.
All right, no problem. So the Violence Against Persons Prohibition law is a law, like the words. Okay. Now with this, have you right, and it's violence against persons. So anything you do against another person, okay, this law is speaking directly or indirectly to it. So it is a law that generally speaks on violence against human beings in the states, and every state has specifically their own implementing laws. They have a bill that they passed. Apart from what we have from the National Assembly, we have one that each state is passing to fit in their respective angles from their states. And then the one in Imo State is specifically for Imo State. So the jurisdiction of using this law is in Imo State. So if you're out of Imo State, a couple of other states have also passed the Vapp law, but it's like the one for Imo State is not for you. Okay. But basically the one for Imo State is speaking deeply on all forms of violence against human beings. This includes violence against women. This includes violence against men. It includes violence against children. It includes violence against widows, harmful widowhood practices, violence in school spaces. Most of these things are all encompassed in it. So if you're a human being and person they violate your right, this law is for you.
Okay. So this law, last week we talked about the different forms of abuse, where I'm sure a lot. Okay, before I even go ahead, we mentioned your social media handle last week.
Yeah.
So did you have any kind of following?
I did not. People did not follow us. So nobody followed us. So they did not even love us.
The thing is that when it's not great, make it be seen that when they abuse you, where you go find when you follow. Better say you even get the power. You have the power first to be able to avoid it than for it to actually happen and you look for a defense against it, But the thing is that this is, if in as much as human rights is a very, very basic, it's a very, very basic element of life. It is something that as you born Pekin say, you supposed to start from that Pekin hospital bed, they educate them about your rights as a human being. But then it is something a lot of people just overlook and I'm living like that. I mean, the freedom, the rights where I get as human being last now. Freedom of speech and freedom of movement. If I get freedom of speech and freedom, that one don't do. But then a lot of people don't pay attention to this kind of topics.
Yeah.
So it's something that until you do you,
till they get to your doorstep.
Exactly, which is something that we're trying to avoid, because if you know it, you would not even get to the point where it does do you first before you find help. And then when you hear of abuse, you would know that it is not just physical. At least we had the civil society rep last week actually reiterate a lot of points as to what abuse can be. Abuse can be physical, it could be emotional, it can be even spiritual. I don't know. I think there's spiritual abuse, because why would I be seeing my village people in my dream when I don't want it? I didn't give them consent, right? A lot of things. And then the one that picked my attention, one of the many that has to come up as new, and I'm sure to a lot of you out there listening, was the one where she said, "Oh, this is where they go Douglas. They drag your hand."
Yeah.
That's you that is dragging that hand, and you are likely to go to prison for 6 months.
Yeah.
For doing that. And I'm sure a lot of you did not even know that was a thing. If you do ask, she don't answer you. Come up or deal. It's not you can't be forging name. She answer. Chum, you form name until you try to form her real name. And when she doesn't, they turn around and start to insult you.
Yeah.
You say you find yourself. That one now is verbal abuse, right?
Yeah.
So, but then today, that was the last week. The last week session was more of an Indaboski session, because activists they like, let us go and fight.
Yeah.
But then today we're going to be looking at it from the law implementation people. That's the policemen and every other people who are not the makers of the law. They are the implementers of the law. So we're looking at them today. So last week I asked the question, but she was not able to give that answer. But I feel like that is the question that the law people can be able to give it. So far so good. Yeah, 6 months in prison sounds a little bit fair for any kind of thing like that. But then so far so good. Since December last year, has there been any case at all in which somebody comes, a young girl or a young boy gets to the authorities, makes a report, and that case was followed in total, and the right punishment was given? Has there been any case at all?
Yeah, there's been a couple of cases. My colleague was saying last week. There's been a couple of cases that have been pushed up in Imo State, and a couple of them are presently in court right now. So it's I don't know of any case that have gotten judgment yet, but I know of a couple of cases that have been pushed and they are still in the process. And just to mention that we might not have heard of every case that has happened because maybe the report did not happen. And then that is why I'm going to put this line again that also in the Vapp law, it is also very punishable if you're trying to protect an abuser. It also attracts some form of punishment if you decide to settle with families or out of law. Okay. So, but for now, I'm very sure I know of a couple of them that have already started. The process have started, and yeah.
Okay, so like what is the case? You can keep it anonymous actually, but then what is the case? I know I'm asking because see, a lot of people have something to report to the police, but we have this mentality in Nigeria. I know get strength for police wahala. But that has got to be one of the most that is very easy. Instead of person go thief your thing now, guy go police. I for one I did it last year. Okay, so I lost my phone. Phone they pay me till today, but so that was every day. I lost my phone and it was a phone that could be tracked. But because they said it would be tracked faster if I go to state CID and drop the serial number, and I looked at it, the phone they pay me, I said, oh, I don't get police wahala, I don't get their strength. So like a lot of people out there, they want to know, is it worth it? Can I? So if person drag my hand for Douglas now, can they pay transport, they go state CID to go report. So that's what I'm trying to ask you, that these cases you say that they're hanging in court already, which is there any story to them, or at least give us one instance? What is the case about? At least one.
Okay, so for the issues of dragging in Douglas, there's no case I know about. As much as we hope that there are going to be more people to start having conversations around this, but those very easy ones that we feel that the society doesn't see as a crime, I've never heard of a report on it. We are hoping that more reports can happen. But there has been cases of abuse on daily basis.
Physical?
In Imo State, yes, physical abuse, different forms of assault, rape, on daily basis in Imo State.
you went through that, but that's not what's inside their head.
Yeah.
They've
A
looked
lot
at
of
you.
stigma.
Exactly. They've given you that image. They've painted
Yeah.
this whole image around you. So the fact that a lot of people are not coming forth, believe me, a lot of people are listening.
Yeah.
But it's just that who will give me this liver? Where I go use come talk. I feel go there now. Police. The only person will get connection. Then if you go police case, you get the money, you get the connection. And then again, this Vapp law, it happens to be a very, 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 it's a handful of people who know it. I happen to know it because, okay, I'm in the media space. And then again, just a few other people. Believe me, I do not think 80% of people in Owerri know that there is this kind of law that covers you, that backs you up, that gives you full coverage against anybody trying to trample on your rights. So I want you to talk about the move as to which these people, one, the widows. I also had widows too. I wanted to ask, so the harmful widowhood practices are still going on?
Of course. Some of these things just never stop.
Till now?
Of course. You just have people rephrase, change the look of it, talk about it in a different light.
They scrape their hair and all of
that.
that.
Yeah, of course.
Till now?
Yeah. Women have their hair scraped. Women have to sit in their homes and have their husbands' families decide what happens to a corpse, who happens to be your better half and stuff. These things are still happening. Is still happening very much, and even worse things that you wouldn't even imagine. You know.
Okay, so let's talk about the police. Last week I said, Miss Marjorie, she said something like, a lot of policemen do not even know that there is a Vapp law.
Yes.
A lot of them. And I asked her, out of curiosity, how, if I want to go reports now, how I want to take no policeman we know and the one we don't know? Because if I go the one we don't know, you go look me like this one they crazy. They waste my time. All this kind of thing. So what do you think that the government or the law or the law implementation force, or whichever people it is, the people at the head, what do you think? Do you think so far that they are making any effort whatsoever to sensitize these policemen? At least get a reasonable number to know, so that you are a speed dial, you are an emergency contact, so that just in case a police station is close to my house, but those people there, they know resemble people who go on. Before I go pay transport, reach
they look for face. You get the way where people go.
I'm telling you, I'm trying to come. I try to look at this thing from the common man's level. You get how they think they look. This policeman no resemble no Vapp law. So you want to go to state CID just because of the reputation of that place. You want to go there, but maybe before you could go, let's say somebody staying in Mbise, before the person wants to come down to Owerri, it's either it is a stale news or the person has been talked to by somebody else, and then your morale don't die. You get. So what are the measures that people at the top are taking? Are they doing seminars? I want to know, how are you able to say, okay, at least given numbers and facts, 70% of policemen or law enforcers, they know about this Vapp law and what to do when they get a report?
Okay, so right now there are very, very, very little things that are happening around the laws, especially beyond the Vapp law. Even there are other laws in the state, and I think that is one of the major reasons why we are live on air talking about this law and having sensitization to talk about, okay, this is existing and this is what can be done, and this is what happens, and this is how it happens. Okay, so to a large extent, we know that people in the state CID know about the Vapp law. And this is because through the process of passing it into a law, these people were in the know about it. These people had conversations around it. And when civil societies and the House of Assembly in Imo State and the government celebrated the passage of this law, it was also in the know that in the record that the police enforcement agency did a lot and then celebrated. But when they are celebrating these forces, when they are talking about these things, it's very easy for them to understand, okay, what is it about? Because I'm going to talk about it, because I'm going to hear about it. But that's not the same story for police officers that are not in the capital. That's not the same story for police officers in Mbise, in Olu, in Zombe and stuff. So talking about seminars and all, it is something worth doing, of course, but obviously it's not like we have funds to do it. It's not like we have access to do it. It's not like the government is doing it. So it's not happening, at least not yet. And I believe that as much as we're talking to young Nigerians, most of these people that we are talking to are definitely police officers. Some of the people that are listeners of Heritage FM are police officers. So let's say that we are talking to police officers, they're listeners of Heritage FM, and now they are listening to Sabi Rights on radio every Thursday with Research Humanity. I think it's also an exciting way to get the enlightenment. Okay, so if we can start getting more of this information, I also know another organization here, where I reached out sometime recently and said they were doing a community engagement and were disseminating hard copies of the Vapp law. So I know most of these things are happening, and it's barely a thing to have these conversations and disseminate this information without involving the police in the sector. And our guest last week also mentioned something peculiar in Imo State, where we have a segment of the police force who are made up of lawyers and some enforcement agencies that are doing amazing things and understanding the law a little bit more than the rest. Okay, so this segment might be the target that we need to look at. This segment of the police force might be the people that we would need to give all the attention, a lot of the attention, to understand it as much as people in the CSO space does. And recently, Whisper to Humanity did we simplified the version of the bill. So the law, we made it into different versions. We presently have the one meant for CSOs, the one in very simpler English, the one for CSO and enforcement agencies. That's where the police fit in. So this one just brings every kind of law together into one box. And then the one for simplified languages are the one that we know that an average person who could read and write can actually be able to read. And then we have the English, the Pidgin English version. Okay, so the Pidgin English version is the version that we are hoping to start bringing live on air on Sabi Right, subsequently coming from next week. So we have made it simpler for people to read it, to understand it, to own it, and so many CSOs are making it easier for people to get it, including the police. And we are live on radio every Tuesday to talk about it, hoping that more people also would give attention to it and more people will understand this lore and more people would give attention to the fact that this is workable and this is a toolkit to use.
Okay, so that's the voice of Mary Jacob, the young founder of the Whisper to Humanity Group, a youth-led feminist organization who is here or who has taken the mantle to come here on radio every Thursday inside the tripod right here on Heritage 88.7 FM in a bid to remind you that as a human being, there are things that you suppose get. They're supposed they give you not be said that they do you privilege. So stay here. I know a lot of questions in your head now. Okay, my side I won't go police now. And I go need pay them money. That's one of the questions. Even if I don't want to go police streets, I go feel me to make una go on my behalf. That's another question. But then those questions are going to have answers. So don't go anywhere.
Whispers. Whispers. We want to change the narrative. Whispers. Change the narrative, and we want you to be involved. Whispers. We want to change the narrative. Change the narrative.
generations, we have been learning civic education. Human rights, human rights, human rights. But then you can't be like say they pour water inside basket. If you enter one ear, you go from under ear, come out. Human rights is a very, very important topic, and it's amazing to see that it is young people doing it this time around. It's not old lawyers or old people right from the days of 1970 or 1928, the 1920s. It is young people like you, like me, out here, with their own organization set to bring justice to whoever is a perpetrator of injustice or violence. And we've been talking about the Vapp law that was implemented in Imo State last year in December, the Violence Against Persons law, that says any kind of violence whatsoever, you no need to slap me before you go prison. You no need to call me idiot before you go prison. You don't even hug me if I don't give you consent, because you can hug me now, me and you go to smile, I gotta report you. Because I didn't give you consent. So no matter the kind of abuse you are meting out to your fellow human being, I did not say to a woman, no, I did not say to a man, I said to a fellow human being, you need to know that it is punishable by law. And that is what these young people are out here. We're going to be looking at them segment by segment, topic by topic. And last week, we looked at it from the CSO point of view. I'm talking about the civil society. And then today, we're looking at it from the law enforcement agency angle, and how far and how good this particular law has been implemented so far. So in case you have any questions whatsoever, maybe from last week or from last 2 weeks, 081-128-87887. The number again, 081-128-87887. Mary Jacob is right here, the founder of the Whisper to Humanity team. They also have a physical office, but then I'll give an address later. So for now, we're still talking. So Mary Jacob, back to what we're talking about today. A lot of people, I'm sure that I will be speaking for a lot of people when I say, you normally going to a police to report a case. Somebody would always say, I don't get money where I want use go report for police. So what would you tell that person where they feel say, I want to go police, but I don't get money where I want use go police? So
okay, so before I moved back to Imo, with Whisper and everything, there was a case of an abuse that happened, and my team was in Imo at the time. So when they called out, I was told that someone from the police was asking them for money. Okay, so when I reached out to the then PRO of the police, I remember he said something. He said, "Tell me the name of this person."
Of the policeman?
Yes. So that's to tell you that it's not legal. Okay. We also understand that the police as well has their challenge. They have their challenges and all of that. And most of the time they don't have the capacity, financial capacity, to go make some arrests. Sometimes they have issues with fuel, and there are a lot of stories which we are not proud of as Nigerians. Okay, but this is the reality that we have in the country that we live in. It's not something we're proud of, but it's a reality that we have. That doesn't make it legal or right or justifiable for the police to ask for money before making an arrest or making a move. Okay, so it is totally illegal. It is wrong. And even right now in the digital age, we have if you just go on Google and just search for Nigerian police PROs, you will just find the number of the Nigerian police PRO of Owerri. And by the time I called him, I didn't even know who he was. Okay, I wasn't in Owerri at the time. I did not know this person, but I called this person because I could access the person's number on Google, and I reached out to this person because this person is quite vocal about some of these issues. And if we're going to start changing the narrative as young people in a society, I know somebody, if I'm talking about this changing the narrative, a couple of people are going to come on air and ask me, okay, what about the MSAS? So we're able to do anything. Okay, there are a couple of things that has happened that it seemed like we couldn't have an effect. But if we're being sincere to ourselves, a couple of other conversations started opening up after that period. Okay, so if we're going to want to change the narrative as people, as indigents, as citizens of this country, if we're making efforts to change the narrative, we're making effort to take the bull by the horn, that is going to include enforcing law by keeping this corrupt law enforcement officers at check. Okay, this would include alarming it when it happens. This would include reporting to the right places when it happens. This will include going to search for numbers for the PRO to call. But I mean, I don't think that would be very necessary because with time, as the Sabi right is going, we are hoping we're hoping to get more people involved. Hoping to get more people to come live on air, more law enforcement agencies to come and tell us, especially the police, to guide us on how they think we can be of more help to get information to them and help them do the work that they have been called to do.
Okay, so the jail time, like you said, is it a maximum or a minimum of 6 months?
Okay, it's if you look at the Vapp Law, okay, so most of the jail terms you see things like just the month, like 6 months, okay, a minimum of 6 months, or a fine, or this or that. But at the same time, I'm not a lawyer, but I know that at the same time, when you're going for a law case, or you're placing charges, okay, in the process of placing the charges, being assaulted is one thing. There are a lot of other clauses in assault. Okay, so what you're being charged for might not just be dragging someone. Okay, so if you're being charged for like multiple things, if you have multiple charges, then 6 months is like one out of so many things that you might actually be charged for.
Okay. Yeah. So is there a hierarchy of abuse? Like somebody says, oh, rape 7 years, then slap you 2 years, something like that, or it's just as far as it's abuse, they have a particular time frame.
No. It's there are different types of abuse, different types of violations come with different types of charges.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since I like to think of you as a network between the abuser and the law. So you're like in the middle. And people were doing protect for, so I don't forget all those things. Shaman no say get what they call level 1 level, level 2 level. They get fulcrum for the middle. So I feel like you are the fulcrum, and then there's a load and there's an effort. So there's this and there's that, and you are like a mediator in the middle. That's how I like to see it. So if there's an abuse victim whatsoever, and this person is scared to death for going to the police, can they come to your organization and then you take the issue to the police by yourself?
Yes.
Is that a possibility?
Yes, that's a huge possibility. I would like to point out that Research Humanity is yes, everybody, if you've heard us, we're a feminist organization. But beyond that, our specific attentions of work are in knowledge building. Okay, so we want to bridge the gaps. We want to make sure that you understand that you have these rights. We want to tell you what to do and how to do it. Okay, and this includes, of course, building your capacity and supporting you to assess these rights. Okay, so if you're coming to assess Research Humanity, of course, we're in a good place to support you. We're in a good place to lead you right, or to who is the best person to talk to, where's the best place to go to, how the best thing to do it to, and the best person to connect you to. And at the same time, we have organizations in a way that speak specifically on human rights abuse. While we are at this end saying, oh, we want you to know you have this right, we're trying to bridge the gaps, we're trying to make it understandable for you. We are giving you the knowledge, we're building your capacity, we're arming you with all the tools that you need to fight for your rights. We have people who are there and saying, your right has been violated. Oh, we are here and we're willing to charge it up with you, okay? And if you don't know those people, it's fine. Because that is why we are here. If we're going to build the knowledge, as much as the knowledge is also helping you build the connection and the network, like you put it. So it's also very okay. You could send us a message on social media. Like 2 days ago, BJ was 2 days ago, right? Yeah, when we got a message from Calabar, we got a message from one of our followers, and from Ugeb, yes, in Cross River. So he was like, okay, this is happening. We need to do something. We know the right people to talk to. We know the right people to call because we're in the system. So what we do is empower you with all the tools that you need to do it, and support our partners and our colleagues who are doing it and in the front line of this field work. So yes, if you have such issues, Whisper is very open. Our phone lines are open. Send us WhatsApp when you can. Follow us on social media and stuff. And just drop us a message.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure that's where you're going to get a lot of your callers. Last week you didn't get to call out your your phone lines. You only did social media. So I guess that's going to be a safer way to get to you. A lot of people might not want to call on air. This why they trace my number. They know who they report this thing. So
No,
that
no,
aside,
no,
at the end of this segment, I'm going to be dropping their numbers. That was a mistake on my part last week. I actually did forget it. So this time around, the question I'm going to be asking is this. In a case where the abuser is a law enforcement agent, in a situation whereby this young girl or this young boy who doesn't come from a family that has quote unquote connections, they don't have somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that has connections, who is going to use their power to make sure that justice is being served, and the person on the other end of the case who happens to be the abuser is somebody who is a law enforcement agency, more like, should I say, covered by the law. In that situation, what do you do? Or what do you advise that person out there who might be listening to you? Like, oh, you've been abused before by a law enforcement agent. And say you don't get as if they call you for money, they like that. If they call you for mind, they say like that. But then this is something that has damaged your self-esteem and whatever it is, be it physical or not. What do you advise this person in this kind of situation to do when their abuser is a law enforcement agent?
Okay, so a law enforcement agent is an agent. An agent is one out of a full bunch of agencies, right? So if somebody is abusing and you are and this person is an agent that is supposed to be implementing this law, and this person is abusive, that doesn't mean that the case is closed, because this person is one person out of the entire agency. So you could actually push it beyond that person, right? And sometimes I remember a couple of years back, someone was being assaulted, okay, and then she said, I'm going to tell Mary Jacob about this. It happened in Abuja. And then this person they were threatening happens to be my colleague who works in the NGO space. So the idea is this person works in the NGO space, and already it means that the person knows how to maneuver the law, right? But nobody's above the law. So it's just like, all right, I know what the law says. I know how to avoid getting caught. All right, just like studying enough to be on safe side, right? That was the same thing with this person. This person was trying to assault a young girl who said she was going to report to me. And then he said, if you report to her, if you are telling Mary Jacob, then tell Mary Jacob what you were doing in my room by this time of the night. You get that kind of stuff.
What it is. Why you wear short skirt?
Yeah, why are you in my room? It's very late. You're alone with me in my hotel room. And then the girl said, Mary Jacob, she would agree with me. You get. So understanding the fact that abuse does not have a box. If you abuse somebody, you abuse the person. If you assaulted somebody, you assaulted the person. So even these people that are members of the law enforcement agency understand that part. So if somebody is trying to violate your human rights, somebody is abusing you, somebody is being abusive and attacking you, and the person is trying to use knowledge, the kind of knowledge that they have, understanding that they can go away from it, or they can manipulate you or convince you by saying certain words. When the person is saying it, there are two things involved. This person knows that when things go south, they're going down for real. Okay? So trying to say all the things they say is trying to manipulate you into not reporting or into not going further. So if somebody that is a member of the law enforcement agency is trying to attack, violate you in any way, especially at the course of duty, please don't hesitate. By the time you are even making it public, or you're even alarming it, or you're reaching out to the right sources for it, the person is also getting into trouble. So when the person knows that you're actually going to go all out, you're not going to accept to be intimidated, you're not going to get shot, or because the person is part of the agency enforcing law, then it's going to be easier for the person to even retrace their steps. Okay, so just stand your ground. Understand that a police officer is one out of an entire police force. Understand that Mary Jacob is one out of an entire force of activists, of feminists, of CSOs and NGOs in Nigeria and the world as well. You can have it. So understanding that we are just like tiny pieces, part of this whole bunch, helps you understand it better that, you could actually report to somebody else. You could actually reach out to somebody else. to make it happen. So please don't stop just because it's an urgency thing. It's not a general thing.
Okay, so just before I give you the space or the floor to call out every single detail you have, your office, if you have your spiritual office, if that was some spiritual agents, that also fly in the night. Just what I need your spiritual office location, every single detail it is you have. Just before I give you the floor, let me ask you this last question. So while we were talking initially before the music will break, there was something you said. I was keying down some notable points. So you talked about somebody who tries to protect an abuser.
Yeah.
So is there like a jail time for that? That's a very important thing I want to find out.
Yes.
Is there a jail time for? Because that is aiding crime.
Yes.
That is you aided this person. Not you do but you know say them do this thing. You won't cover them.
Yeah.
So what is it? What is it punishable by?
Okay, you in some cases you stand a chance of getting the same punishment that the perpetrator of the harm gets, and in some situations you get like a lesser punishment. Okay, but in all of it, I'm very glad that you mentioned that this is a form of aiding crime. So this means that you're doing it, you're involved. And if you're going to say, they raped my daughter and they're willing to give me some amount of money, so let's settle out of court. There is nothing like that. Okay, an abuse on an individual is an abuse on the state, is an abuse on everybody.
Yeah, but what's the person when they abuse won't settle outside court? You said okay,
so it depends on the case.
They abuse me. You are like you're my parents or maybe you're my guardian, right? They abuse me. Me, I say I know what report.
Are you up to age?
I want.
Are you up to age?
You know, really, see the feel. Calm down. You know, this whole thing is like a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
So this is like I am the person who was abused. My family, my guardian said, "Shall they find money?" And person will abuse me. He get back. Me, I don't reason guy. My family always going to do better thing. But let us settle outside court. Would you don't go force the person to come fight human rights?
If the person is not up to age, the person's guardian,
that's below 18.
But
these days, 16-year-olds make decisions for themselves.
Well, everybody, even a child. If I have a child at 5 years, as far as you can speak, tell me your decision. Tell me what you want to do.
Okay.
But at the same time, when you report the cases, there are things that call the case of the states. Okay. And most of the time, if you watch some of this criminal law movies, you
like states
against this person. So when a case is on this person, if the person is underage, no matter how much you want to settle out of court, personally, I will even attack it for guidance. Because I'll feel like you're doing this because you're trying to use this child to get what you want, okay? But if the person is up to age and the case has been reported and the state is taking it up, it is a violation. You violated the code, you violated the laws. So beyond the fact that you did it to this person and this person is not interested in pushing forward. Of course, there are some cases that you see and we're like, okay, we're CSOs, we can't do more than what we're doing. So basically, we need this person to speak up, to agree to push for the case before we have the case.
So what if the person is like 17 and a half? Never to reach 18 like that. Like maybe 17 years, 11 months.
Until you are an adult, you are not an adult.
All right, so you heard it by yourself. Please, even if it is going to be really, really trouble. See, just in case you don't know, Baba Ijesha. Baba Ijesha is going to be cooling off in prison for the next at least a decade and more because, he abused a minor and he was shot saying plenty nonsense. But then, that is one justice that we have to say we're proud of in this country, at least for once. So you've heard it, that there are a lot of things that you can do that will put you in trouble. And where they do friendship goals, your friend abuse person, they lock them up. Na person daughter or na person son where they abuse. Look yourself, if now you where them do, it go good for you. You're doing friendship and somebody is being put on the line. Abuse tends to dent a lot of people's self-esteem. I've met a lot of people who, they tell you they are the way they are as an adult because of what they had to go through as children. And you're just, what you're doing is you're raising dangers to come. and loam around in the society. You get me? So that is what this team is all about. The Whisper to Humanity group, a youth-led feminist organization, all youths, by the way. And each time, every single Thursday by 1:30, they're strolling here with their expert guests in that particular topic that they are on about. But just know that it is human rights, and human rights is really, really broad. A lot of you might want to reach out to them straight. Don't worry, it's not because I said it's a youth-led feminist group doesn't mean it's a group made up of just women. There are men also. So just in case, I know how to go tell woman say anything. Me man, don't worry, man there for the group where you go tell.
Most of them I decide, but I actually prefer to tell a woman because I like, if I tell this guy, you know the man.
No. Some guys will say, how woman will they bend down peace.
Uncle Standard.
Exactly. So they have men as well, and they are all young, good at things. So they actually have a possibility that they might think in the same level as you do. They are all young people. So now I'll leave you in Mary Jacobs' hand to give you every detail, from numbers to the address to social media, every single detail you need to reach them if you have been a victim or you suspect somebody to be an abuser. It doesn't have to be rape, to be honest. There's a whole lot of other forms, and you think that this one is running out of hand, and you just don't want to do police station, so you want to reach her directly. So I'm going to be giving the floor to her right now.
Thank you. So yeah, we have men, we have women, we have different genders, actually, to be fair. And don't get worried about what's going to happen. Just check us on any social media platform, on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any social media platform that you can think about. We'll find you there, including TikTok, right? Yeah. So yeah, you can check Whisper to Humanity, just like Whisper to Humanity. I don't think there's another Whisper to Humanity anywhere else. And then if you also, if you're interested in downloading our app, which I advise, it's like an amazing app to reach out with your friends and families in times of distress, you can check out the Whisper app, the Whisper mobile app. Just check on your app stores, no matter before you're using the gadget, you're using Apple Store, Play Store as well. Just check for Whisper mobile app. And then if you want to reach us on WhatsApp, I would advise WhatsApp. Yeah. WhatsApp 08154 014746 08154 So you can send us a message on WhatsApp. You can send us a message on WhatsApp to what we have. We reply to your message in less than 5 minutes. If you call us, that would be amazing. But please don't call us after working hours because nobody might pick your call and you might feel bad. And if you're a young person listening to us and you're joining in from Owerri, then I think you might want to check out our social media pages ASAP, because we have a youth event happening on the 12th of August. The International Youth Day is a jeans event. Come and snap your mad pictures, hang out with us, drink, have fun, and talk about youth, human rights, and feminism. So if you also want to get the link for registration, we're taking only 30 young people, and we already have 14 people registered. If you want to also attend this event, you could ask for the link for registration on 08154014746. And you could also call us to ask for information during working hours, of course. And on all our social media handles, Whisper to Humanity, you can definitely find us and get the link for registration. And also drop us a message if you want. And if you are in distress, we're one call away, we're one drop away. Just stop by in our office space, Whisper to Humanity. You can search for the Whisper to Humanity office space in Owerri. We're in World Bank, 36 in Joko Crescent, Area M. World Bank Housing Estate, very close to the World Bank Market and close to the last bus stop as well. So yeah, just check us out. We have a very cool place, a lot of artwork. Trust me, you'll love it.
Okay, so just to add right there, just in case you missed the number, 08154014746, 08154 you've heard it right there. So please make sure that you do not keep quiet at all. There's a youth-led feminist organization right here in Owerri, in your city, bringing you a law that was passed right under our noses last year, and not a lot of people know it, sadly. But then they are here to constantly remind you every time. Whisper to Humanity, they're on Instagram, they're on Twitter, they're on every single social media platform that you can think about. And good thing, they also have a mobile app. So this app, sorry, I didn't ask, is it available for iOS?
Yes, it is.
Apple
It
too?
is. Yeah.
Okay,
And
all
it's
right.
totally free as well.
All right.
All the features.
All right, there you have it. So Android users and those people that used to do ritualism, that used to use iPhone. By the way, iPhone 14 is out. I don't even understand. Well, me, I'm seeing iPhone 6. They have brought out 14. Hey, Lord, wahala. All right, so that is the end of the tripod today. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Dara. Don't forget that today is Trendy Thursday right here on Heritage 88.7 FM. And by next week, Thursday, you would still see the Whisper to Humanity team right here with me again. Until tomorrow, let's do this same time, same station. Have yourself a very wonderful Thursday. And also, don't forget to drink white wine. It's National White Wine Day as well. Good afternoon.
The Whispers. Whispers. We want to change the narrative.
Only phone.
And you take what for SMS.
Estimate.
Get it.